Hi everyone, this is Troy Torres. You're not seeing me on the screen. On the screen, what you're seeing is our zoom into, I don't know if this is the governor's office or is this NMC? This is NMC, where in just a few moments, Homeland Security Executive Manager Franklin Babauta, and I'm not sure if Governor Arnold Palacios will be on this as well. They're going to give the latest on now Tropical Storm Bolaven, expected to become Typhoon Bolaven by tomorrow when it makes its closest point of approach to the Mariana Islands. At 10:30 today, there was a briefing at the Guam Emergency Operations Center where certainty is growing that Bolaven is moving away from Guam, as it more probably now threatens Rota, Tinian, and Saipan. And this is according to the latest information from National Weather Service Guam Office Chief Meteorologist Landon Idlet. He said right now we can breathe a little easier in Guam, but not so much for the Northern Marianas. He said that while Guam is not out of the woods yet, the likelihood of the southernmost island of the Marianas receiving typhoon-strength winds this week are dwindling, and the likelihood of a typhoon directly hitting Rota, Tinian, or Saipan are increasing. As of now, Mr. Idlet said, the forecast says that sometime Tuesday night, now Tropical Storm Bolaven is expected to make its closest point of approach north of Rota as either a Category 1 or a Category 2 typhoon. Those are the two lowest wind speed category typhoons. The biggest ones are Category 3, Category 5, and Category 4. He says that can change, though. It can change from Category 1 or Category 2. It can be, I suppose it can be a smaller system, but more likely it can be a bigger system than a smaller system, and that is because the Joint Typhoon Warning Center is tracking that rapid intensification is possible sometime within the next 36 hours, either prior to Bolaven getting closest to the CNMI or as it goes over on one of the islands of the CNMI or after it leaves the CNMI. So rapid intensification is one of those things where the storm increases its wind speed, not its travel, but the wind speeds, that the maximum sustained winds and the gusts and all that stuff increases very quickly. That's what's called rapid intensification, and that's what we don't want to see happen as this thing gets closer to the Mariana Islands. Any shift south could bring greater wind speeds to Guam. Any shift north could spell more trouble for Tinian and Saipan. But what National Weather Service was last tracking is that there's this cone of possibilities and probabilities that they put onto the track of these things, and Guam is now sitting on the southern tip of this cone, which is bringing it out of the range of probabilities and bringing it further north to our brothers and sisters in the Northern Mariana Islands. Governor Lulian Guerrero from Guam, she released a video message expressing her solidarity with the people of the CNMI. She says, "We will continue to be on track of condition of readiness 2. Here on Guam, as you know, the track is going north-northwest, and we wish our brothers and sisters from the CNMI the best. I just got off the phone with Governor Palacios and offered our assistance in any way we can." That's from Guam Governor Lulian Guerrero. We spoke with Governor Palacios yesterday on Kandit live and via phone, and from everything that he told us, as much as the government of the Commonwealth is able to, they seem to have matters under control. They are looking at every possibility. They are looking at things like, what will we do if all communications go out? Let's say all the radio stations go down, the cellular networks go out. You know, what is it that we're going to do here in the CNMI to get communication to the public? And so the governor said, first and foremost, you know, and people in the CNMI, this is not their first rodeo. What people will do is use their common sense and hunker down at home unless they have an emergency, and, you know, in that case, call 911. Otherwise, some things that they're looking at, and I believe they had a meeting about this today, is you know, those more medieval ways of communicating with the public, the loudspeakers, the boots on the ground, you know, people getting the information out, what do you call it? No, not the hand crank radios, of course, are important. Or the satellite radio feeds that they in that we'll have communication going between National Weather Service and Governor Palacios' office. He also talked about the power situation in Rhoda, the issue with the generators, and so. As a blessing in disguise, heavy equipment was sent down to address that issue prior to any knowledge of any storm coming. And that pre-positioned heavy equipment will make a big difference in case there's any sort of recovery effort that needs to happen in Rhoda. He also has been in contact with Joint Region Marianas and the military commands so that in the event that there is a need to transport people from Rhoda to Guam for Medivacs, that's a system in place that the governor has been coordinating. Department of Public Works has pre-positioned assets, and he says the water tanks or water buffaloes or whatever those are, those systems all are in place, and the government seems to have a handle on everything. Where are we, Eric, now with the Zoom? They're still preparing. I think Miguel Dandan said that they were going to take us off of the video for just a bit as they. Do you see it's on the holding screen? Maybe go to show people the holding screen right now.
It's his face.
Oh, it's Miguel's face? He has a handsome face. Sure. It's okay. Meanwhile, I have information from IT&E for both Guam and Saipan and the CNMI. And let me pull this up. Stand by. From Joy White over at IT&E. There's an update from IT&E about their preparedness efforts.
Here we go, Miguel.
Oh, it's just his static face. I thought it was him in the video. So here's from IT&E. IT&E is fully mobilized and committed to minimizing any cellular, internet, or landline interruptions to our valued subscribers due to the storm. As we monitor Tropical Storm Bolaven as it heads toward the Marianas, IT&E is taking proactive steps to ensure network stability and reliability as best as possible. To keep subscribers connected during the upcoming adverse conditions, IT&E is doing the following. Number one, it's preparing backup power. IT&E actively deploying generators and backup power sources at crucial network sites to ensure uninterrupted service in the event of power fluctuations. Number two, mobilizing response teams. Teams are on standby to respond as soon as it is safe to assess service interruptions or repair network issues caused by the storm. Number three, 24/7 monitoring. IT&E has around-the-clock monitoring in place to detect and address any network issues as soon as they arise. If you need support from customer support, IT&E's customer care team will remain accessible to assist subscribers with any connectivity issues. To report service issues, subscribers can call 670-682-4483. That's 670-682-4ITE. That's what the 4483 stands for. And if you're on Guam, that's 671-922-4483. Callers may experience hold times as they monitor the network and work to resolve emergency situations. The president of IT&E, Jim Olderking, says, "We understand the importance of staying connected, especially during times of crisis. Rest assured, we are committed to providing the best possible service and support throughout this storm." I don't know if there are any questions that you guys have regarding. Actually, let me go to the live feed to see if you guys have any questions regarding government or school openings for tomorrow. But when we were on the line with Governor Palacios yesterday, he mentioned that because Austerity Monday this week fell on a holiday, Austerity Monday was moved to tomorrow, Tuesday. So there wasn't going to be normal government operations or public schools in session anyway for Tuesday. Let me go to the feed to see if there are any. DC Taimacho says, "Be safe, Guahan, and be safe, Rhoda, Tinian, and Saipan. We're praying for you guys." I really hope this storm, when it makes its closest point of approach, is not really that bad and it goes over the ocean rather than, over one of the islands. That would be such a blessing.
Or, if it becomes more unorganized.
more unorganized. Yeah, and there's been a lot of praying going on in all of our islands. I just yeah.
Be safe, everybody.
Be safe, everybody. Yes. Now, if you're just joining us, we're waiting for Homeland Security Emergency Management Manager Franklin Babauta. I'm not sure if Governor Arnold Palacios is coming on as well, but they are going to have a briefing. They just came out of a briefing with National Weather Service, and from there, they are preparing to present this information to the public. What is the latest that is happening regarding Bolaven for the CNMI? And we're going to get that information as soon as they come on. We're waiting in the Zoom room right now. The room is over at Northern Marianas College, where Mr. Babauta, and I'm not sure if Governor Babauta is going to be there, but they're going to be able to provide the latest information on what's going on for Rota, Tinian, and Saipan, not just in terms of where the storm currently is tracking to head, but also in terms of what the preparation and recovery efforts are looking like. At 10:30 this morning at the Guam Emergency Operations Center, if you're just joining us, I'll recap this. Certainty is growing, or National Weather Service presented information that certainty is growing, that Bolaven is moving away from Guam as it more probably now threatens Rota, Tinian, and Saipan, according to the latest information. Landon Idlet, who's the chief meteorologist for National Weather Service Guam office, says right now we can breathe a little easier in Guam, but not so much for the Northern Marianas. He said that while Guam is not out of the woods yet, the likelihood of the southernmost island of the Marianas receiving typhoon strength winds this week are dwindling, and the likelihood of a typhoon directly hitting Rota, Tinian, or Saipan are increasing. As of now, the forecast says that sometime Tuesday night, now tropical storm Bolaven is expected to make its closest point of approach north of Rota as a Category 1 or Category 2 typhoon. This is the important part, okay? That can change. It's still early in the game, though the certainties are growing. I mean, this thing is still some 400 some miles, nautical miles away. But the reason that they say it can change is because, you know, there's a possibility this thing could get worse than a Category 1 or Category 2 typhoon, because the Joint Typhoon Warning Center is tracking that rapid intensification of the storm of Bolaven is possible within the next 36 hours as it comes closer, as it gets closest and makes its passing, or as it moves away from the Mariana Islands. They don't know yet. It's something that is a scary unknown. Any shift south will bring greater wind speeds to Guam. Any shift north will spell more trouble for Tinian and Saipan, though the probabilities of it shifting south and making a direct hit for Guam are moving further out of the realm of possibilities, because the cone has narrowed, and now the southernmost part of that cone is over Guam. So I mean, it's still possible. You know, we're not out of the woods here yet in Guam. And so Landon Idlet says we have to pay attention to those wobbles, you know. It's going to bring a lot of rain, is what Eric Rosario is saying. It looks like it. Is that what the red means?
Yeah.
The red means rain? Are you sure?
Yeah.
And what is the green and the blue?
The green is like, what's his name? I was listening to
Landon?
Yeah.
Landon was explaining the green and the blue?
Not Landon, the brother.
Brandon.
He was explaining what the green and the blue mean.
I have a note from Miguel Dandan that they will be starting in a minute. So let's go ahead to their screen. And everyone, if it's okay, if we just wait on the screen because I'm out of things to say. And there's Miguel. Can I eat my Doritos now? Just get started with Miguel. Okay.
Thank you, members of the media, for helping to disseminate important information about the anticipated storm that's going to be here, or that's anticipated to pass through the Commonwealth over the next couple of days. With us is, of course, our Special Assistant for Homeland Security and Emergency Management, Franklin Babauta, and Mr. Craig Browning from FEMA, who actually arrived this morning to talk about some of the FEMA assets and other efforts that are being deployed to assist the CNMI in the response to the typhoon. So I'll go ahead and pass it over to SAA Franklin.
Thank you everyone for showing up for this important briefing. As you know, we received this news a couple of days ago that this storm was developing in south of our area. And as it started to approach us, we are starting our preparation phase. During our preparation phase, we have a multi-agency coordinating group. We call it our MAC group. That includes the departments, agencies in the government sectors, and also our state partners from the private sectors area. We have called them in to our meetings. We discussed about the possibility of the weather hitting us and what are our actions to take, and we are preparing for that. With one of the discussions with that is to open up the shelters. As you all know, we are currently in Typhoon Condition 3, and we should be posturing moving into Typhoon Condition 2. When we get to Typhoon Condition 2, that will trigger our emergency response organizations and teams to open up the shelters. And those announcements will be coming out after they establish all the sites. But they should be ready as of our meeting earlier. They are being prepped and just ready for us to announce it. With that, if there are any questions from the media, or I would like to have Mr. Craig here from FEMA say something, and then we'll entertain some of the questions from you.
Thank you. Our team, our FEMA team, is here on the ground. We have been here for a few days in relation to this specific event, but FEMA does have more than 200 personnel over in Guam that are supporting Typhoon Mawar back in a few months ago. So we have 200 folks in Guam. We have another 175 that have been tapped to respond to this event so far. As was alluded to earlier, our team, our incident management assistant team, is here on the ground in Saipan, and we are postured and ready to support the government agencies as needed.
All right, thank you. Just my first question. I'm Tomas with KUAM. I just wanted to ask what still needs to be done. In particular, I know just last week we covered an emergency procurement for Rota Power. During Mawar, getting the engine over was also an issue. So what still needs to be done at this point in time?
Well, and that's thank you for the questions. We did ask our partners, our agencies, on what things they need. When they identify or say those things that they need, we work with our federal partners. And one of the things that you mentioned about RODA is that we are going to send another assessment team down there from our federal coordinating teams to assess the situation on their generators. So we can, both work with the local assessments and our federal partners assessment, and we'll see what needs to be done in order for us to make it quicker and faster to find the quickest way to fix the issues if there are some that we need to fix on site.
Any gaps on Tinian and Saipan that still need to be filled that you need to prepare for?
Not really at this time. It's just a matter of just more coordinations and putting it into the request form. So we are preparing those things. There are some requests for example, fuel for the both islands, and that's for the response. We are going to work on that, put that in a preparation phase and get it ready so we can execute it or hold it back based on the situation with the storm. When we needed it, we're ready to let it go. And then if we don't need it, then we will maintain it and keep it. So.
All right, and just my last question for FEMA. We just heard the Guam governor and lieutenant governor express their support for the CNMI and their offer to bring aid given this northward trajectory. What is FEMA's plan right now? Are they going to shift some of those resources up north given this path that it's taking? Can you explain your thinking?
Yeah, so FEMA and the entire federal government is postured and ready to support as needed. What's important to recognize is when FEMA comes into the picture, we're a support role, right? Whenever disasters are declared or they occur, they're locally executed, state managed, and federally supported. And so we're a support role, and we only respond to requests made directly by the state. So we stand by ready in partnership with the state, fully to see if there's anything that we can do to assist to move forward in the coming days.
So can you tell us how many FEMA personnel are on island right now, or is it right?
Sure. So in Saipan, we have about 10 to 13 currently, and that is a management team. We are subject matter experts in various different areas. We're a team that typically are first in on a disaster to really integrate with the state, see what they need, and then we move that information up the chain, especially once a governor makes a disaster declaration request. We already have a management team already here ready to start pulling assets in and directing them out to wherever they need to go.
For the sake of the ordinary members of the community who have experienced many different strength of typhoon in the past, how exactly, in layman's terms, how exactly would you compare this typhoon to the previous typhoons?
Yeah, so typhoons affect everybody differently, right?
Yes, yes.
They're all different.
Yes.
I can't say one affects me different or you different from anyone else, right? We all have our specific needs in the way that we respond to these. And, that's what's great about having a whole community approach, not just the government, but non-government organizations to respond to these events as well. It takes an entire community to rebuild and come back from them. And so, the biggest part right now is being prepared, right? Have your food and water, have your fuel, make arrangements with families so that they know where to go when they need to go, and follow your local officials' advice. If they tell you to evacuate or take shelter, follow their advice.
Just this morning, people are already storming stores for supplies. So what is your advice to the people as to how much of supplies they need to fill their stores at home?
So from a federal standpoint, I'll defer also to the state here, but from a federal standpoint, we typically ask people to plan for 7 to 10 days, as far as food, water, that type of thing.
Yes.
I get it. People have generators, you need to have fuel for that. But also remember your neighbor next door that might need some of that fuel too. So I'll defer to the state and see if they have any comments.
We at this time we don't have any control measures out as far as like how much you can buy and all those things, and that's voluntarily on you to prepare for it. We are identifying the storm coming here on our way, and we cannot lower our preparedness for it. We have to prepare for the worst. And if they are doing that, like our partner here said, they pretty much have to also think that there's others that would need it. I hope they, share those things and not just take everything that is on the shelf. But we are preparing on our agencies on responding to worse the disaster, and it's better to be more prepared than not prepared at all. So we are elevating our discussions in these meetings when we have our meetings, and we ask direct questions to each other, and our partners from the federal coordinating agencies, such as the FEMA that are there, are listening to these things, and we ask those questions of what we need, what do you need, and so we can coordinate with our partners that are here and say partners to assist.
In the event that somebody is underprepared, what kind of resources are available?
That's another thing. If they are, then the resources that are available is, we'll seek for shelters, check for the shelters, and then you can probably get more information from them, what your needs are, and as from what we heard from the shelter managers is that after the shelter, they will also assess your area. They will have to go out and make sure that your house is not damaged before they release you. So those are some of the things that the shelters can assist you.
And any update on the actual forecast? I think the last official update, we all saw it on NWS, was 10 a.m. Any new information or anything else you'd want to, share with the public about where it's going to hit, if it's going to hit, what the intensity is?
Yeah, it's been shifting. We seen it heading north a little bit and heading south a little bit, and now heading straight in between, the islands. The latest one we heard is that it's heading towards between Rota and Tinian, which is good for us if it went through that way, went straight through the water instead of going straight to the island. But we still cannot say that that's where it's going to go because it all depends. Like I said, it has shifted a couple of times already. We just need to be prepared. And like we always, say is that we just don't know and just be ready.
Has there been any discussion about disseminating information on the radio? Has anyone across these agencies been discussing that sort of communication just in the event that telecommunication falls or just has an issue?
Yes, and we did discuss it. We have the public information slides on our presentations that's where our public information teams are taking or in charge of that area. I know they are talking about Facebook messages, the media, like you guys are, and we also discussed about the radio stations to send out the publicity on to be pushed out on viral radio stations.
We're on it.
Any concern about the infrastructure associated with broadcasting on radio, or
we're pretty solid. We've come through YouTube, and the addition to that is now we have a station in Tinian and a station in Rota. So we have KPMG in Tinian and KHA in Rota. So we're simulcasting all of our stations right now, so one message gets to all the islands. We're also getting the mayors of Tinian and Rota to also share messages over those stations. Actually, it'll go over all the stations, but yeah, we're pretty set.
Can I just ask about the airport? Any updates there?
Tomas, I'm just gonna have the other reporters give a chance to ask other questions. Hold on. Does any Kim, do you have one?
I guess my own question is, do you have anything to say for those who may be experiencing some sort of PTSD from due to Southern or even Mawa, or the most recent typhoon? Is there any resources that they can help you?
Yes, they're available. Even the hospital have some counselors they can talk to there. We also have the office of
the community guidance center.
Yeah, the community guidance centers, the one in Marpi also. We have that also in our slides for those that needs those area for just to talk to any concerns we have. The disabilities office too, they are able to, and they're trained also to discuss on all those things. We did discuss also about those areas and also disabilities.
And Kim, just to add to SA, if I may, SA, I know that the governor's office put out information about, you know, making sure that people are reminded that mental health matters. And because many of our citizens here, our residents in the Commonwealth, have gone through super typhoons that has, you know, stirred memories of the trauma of those typhoons. So we are asking residents to check in on each other, check in on their coworkers, check in on their friends, make those calls, help them if they are. Eating nutritious meals can help, avoiding alcohol and avoiding drugs and avoiding anything that, you know, may cloud your mind. But the best thing that we can recommend is to ensure you're taking very defined steps to prepare for the storm, and also asking and seeking help and notifying your family and your friends if you do need help in advance, so that they can also be checking on you during the height of the storm. So those advisories have gone out, but we will continue to make sure that the mental health component is something that is going out at the same time these other preparatory suggestions and recommendations are coming out. I'm going to go ahead and open the floor.
Troy has a question.
Troy from Kandit, and then we'll go to Marana's Variety. Troy, hold on. You are on. We can't hear you right now. We're fixing it now.
Can you try again? Troy, can you try again?
Troy, can you try asking again?
No.
Maybe the volume on the computer.
Well, Troy texted me his message.
No, the volume on the computer is down. I see the volume.
Can you hear us though?
Yes, he can hear us.
Oh, there. We can't hear you, Troy.
He did text his question. I'll just announce it.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
What assets have the government deployed and pre-positioned for immediate recovery in Rhoda, Tingin, and Saipan?
We have not pushed out any assets at this time. It's just all coordinations with our teams there. For example, we have our personnel that we have listed on standby to respond and get onto the other islands. So right now we are just in a positions where we're positioning our areas right in our own areas of responsibility, but we have not pushed it up yet.
Yeah, and I'll just add to that. If immediate needs of survivors post storm supersede that of the local government here, FEMA is postured. Our distribution center in Guam is prepared with life-saving, life-sustaining measures, food, water, tents, cots, and things of that nature. So we are postured and ready to support there as well.
We'll do one with Marana's Business Journal, Maureen. Then we'll go to Marana's Variety. We can't hear.
Can you hear me?
I think this Troy asked another question.
For the opportunity.
Drafted the state of emergency and request for this disaster declaration.
Yes, we have already worked on. We have sent it up to FEMA review on our request, and they are tracking that. We are just waiting for.
Hello.
We have completed that already and sent it forward.
Andrew, while we're fixing any word on fuel levels from either of the gas pump? Looking about that at all?
We did discuss that. The fuel level right now, they are top at this time. There is not major concerns that we are anticipating at this time. They are in good conditions right now. we have no, if they should go lower than a certain percentage, they'll be letting us know.
And then, Hamas, did you want to ask a question?
Well, the airport is open and they will remain open until further notice. They have their own system on closing it down. They did spoke in our meeting that they will remain open until further notice, and they will assess their own assessment on when they will close the airport.
And can I just follow up on, are we gonna declare condition 2 soon? What are we waiting for?
There's time and distance that factors also the trigger for us to elevate the conditions of readiness. Right now we are looking at the time and the distance up, and we are, like I said, we are in typhoon condition 3. We are moving on to typhoon condition 2. And once we set into typhoon condition 2, there's other triggers that the government will have to provide. For example, opening up the shelters ahead of time. So we're looking at opening the shelters, today, this evening, so that we have time for the those that will need assistance to move into the shelters and then move in smoothly. And we're expecting the typhoon tomorrow evening. That gives us time again, if they, hopefully that there will be still some time in tomorrow morning to move in. As soon as that one, I think we'll look at the factor again when the actual storm is going to be here, and that's when we will elevate to typhoon condition 1. Just usually about 12 hours before landfall.
Kim, do you mind if I give Gary an opportunity, and then we'll go to you?
I just have a couple of questions. Has the price freeze gone out yet, or will there be a price freeze?
Yeah.
Okay. I know that is being worked on, and should be we'll have an answer within the hour regarding the price freeze declaration.
Yes,
or executive order.
Right
yes.
Now, so The other question is, are we going to put some generators on the water wells to keep the water going during the storm?
Based on the briefing that we received, those water wells already have generators hooked up and are ready to be turned on. So they are already all prepped and ready to go.
Nice. That's very good.
Kim,
Thank you.
Can you provide us updates from if we expecting the power outages for us to prepare case of an item one power outage?
We can't tell you when the powers will be out. They've mentioned it. They're trying to maintain it as much as they can. We don't know what will be the situation that will cause the power outage, but they have done some mitigations as far as clearing some of the trees close to the power lines and the telephone poles area. So they were out there clearing some of those things that might cause power outage. But at this time, I can't answer what will cause them. So they're just doing their best to prevent it.
We have one more question from Kandit.
Yeah.
This is for FEMA. What advice do you have for people regarding damages to their homes in the event they want to make claims after the storm?
Yeah, so what's important is you don't have to wait for FEMA to start making those repairs. Take pictures, document your damage, and then when a declaration comes, that'll open up those additional resources. But don't wait for us, right? Start your recovery, especially making your house habitable for one, right? We want it to be clean and sanitized and livable. So make those repairs, but you don't have to wait for us. Just document it and document and document.
Sorry, one more from Maureen from Marianne's Journal. She would like to know when the administration anticipates going to typhoon condition 1, and how many generators are on standby in Saipan.
Like I mentioned earlier, we are posturing moving into typhoon condition 2, and based on the distance again and the landfall that we're estimating, that's when we'll trigger moving into typhoon condition 1. As far as generators on the island, each agency responded that they are top few and their generators are all working at this time. The only one that we're concerned of is there's a generator on Rhoda that they're still they were trying to fix it to get it all working, but they need more assistance on setting it up. So we have coordinated that with our federal partners to assess that and see what we can do to fix that generator. But they do have a generator. The island-wide generator is on and is powering the island at this time. The generator that we have is a generator identified in the past to place there for the hospital. And it's there's one generator that's powering the hospital. This is a bigger generator for them. So it's there already. It's just a matter of getting hooked up.
Just a follow-up question for FEMA regarding documentation of damage. What counts as documentation? Because what if our cell phones are just damaged, or there's no way to power my cameras, just in the event, right? Like,
Sure. And we get that question a lot, right? Especially following large storms like this. So, it's important. Just try to remember, if you can just write it down. Like, let's go back in time before cell phone, right? We still had typhoons and hurricanes and tornadoes and all that stuff back then too. So just document. That's all we're asking for. Truly document. If you can take a picture, great. Once the declaration comes and if the Commonwealth requests one, we'll send out teams that will be doing damage assessments, right? They'll do the damage assessments. They'll come by and talk to, the property owners, and they'll get that information. They know what they're looking at, and they can tell new damage, old damage, and repairs that have been made. Again, don't wait for us. Just document what you've done.
I just wanted to ask, where is the governor? During Mawar, we heard from him daily. We haven't heard a public statement, in person, on camera statement at all. So where is he here in all of this response?
Governor was here. He is always present. When we had our meeting, he was here earlier than me yesterday, and I was sitting down, and today again. The leadership presence, I'll say that it's very supportive. He's there. He did the opening remarks and was asking questions too. So he's engaged in the process. Of course, we missed to at least let him know that we were having this, but unfortunately, we didn't tell him that we were having this 2 months. But the leadership is fully engaged, and they're very supportive with this activities that is going on right now.
Okay. I was just wondering because I wanted to ask him a few questions.
Yeah, I wish we let him go, but he was.
Yeah, he does. He resents regrets that he cannot be here. But he was here all morning and is very much engaged, as HSEM Franklin Babauta indicated. But the fact that he's not here in the media briefing doesn't mean he's not here.
Yes. One more from Kandit. Is the hospital prepared for a possible Category 2 storm?
Yes, they briefed too, and the hospital do have some patients right now. They have a plan for that. I am very concerned too, and that's part of my level of assisting and supporting as the territory coordinating officer and my federal partners here. We discussed that and have requested a medevac request should we have any that we need to mobilize from here to another place, to another hospital, and we have put that already in our request for those support aerial support from rotary, helicopter support, and quick-flow support.
Last question for today.
Question. With a storm like this, obviously it can cause a lot of panic. What would you guys have to say to kind of quell some of those fears that the public might be feeling right now?
Is again, be involved in the situation. If that's causing them, then need to just look into our preparedness plan and get themselves also prepared for it. That can signal that they are concerned. There is because it elevates their areas to how prepared they're going to be, and that's probably what's causing it. And they can reach out to any other agencies that they know that can help them. The HSEM Homeland Security is one. They can call us, and then we can direct them to other agencies that can support or assist them with their concerns to lower their anxiety or concerns. And again, we are opening the shelters. Should they have anything for that that they are concerned with, they can go to the shelters and seek more information that can be provided to them.
And just to add to that, we are making available resources to assist residents and guide them in specific preparatory steps that they can take to prepare for the storm. What we also want to make sure is that residents and citizens don't. There's a lot of third-party apps that give weather forecasts, and there's many out there, and a lot of times they WhatsApp those messages or those forecasts. What we ask is to please rely on the official sources of information, including the National Weather Service and the information that's being pushed from the Homeland Security Office here in the CNMI. But please be certain that not to be taken by the different or be confused by the different third-party apps out there. I'm not saying they're not accurate. I'm just saying that some of them are, predicting various things. But use those resources, but rely more so on those official sources of weather forecasting or from NOAA and from other very reliable sources.
Thank you. Is there any word from a public school system and a college? They shut down for the whole week?
We will be, I just want to confirm that, Gary, thank you for that. That's a very important question. I know that they pushed out some messages earlier on their Facebook page, but we'll be including that in the announcement that compiles all the different schools as well as the hospital. We already pushed out some messages from the CHCC for expectant mothers and also for those who are on prescription medication to please make sure you're refilling your medication, especially if you're short, and other advisories from CHCC. So we're including also advisories from other agencies. We may have some announcements from CPA after the storm, but we're going to do a compilation of all these announcements in the next media release, which should be anticipated within the next half hour. As soon as we're done, we're going to work on that and make sure you have that news to be able to report out to the public. Okay.
Right.
Everybody. Thank you so much. So once we're off, everybody, can we turn off the? Just so that essays